With the addition of families on board Starfleet's newest exploration starships, the Galaxy Class, the main bridge, the control center for the entire ship, would get a brand new feel, not seen before in Star Trek history. Hello and welcome to Trek Facts, a fun and fast informational web series on the fundamentals of Star Trek. In today's episode, we're taking a look at the main bridge of the Galaxy Class of Starfleet starships, in an effort to better understand its place in Star Trek history. Before the launch of the Galaxy Class, Starfleet starship bridges were cramped, but extremely functional. But while designing the Galaxy Class, one of the biggest starships ever created by Starfleet's Corps of Engineers up to that point, it was decided that the entire style of bridge would get a complete overhaul. And so, the Galaxy Class bridge design came to be. Access to the bridge was achieved by two port-side turbolifts, one forward, one aft. An emergency turbolift, that also functioned as a direct route to the Star Drive section's battle bridge, was located on the starboard forward side of the bridge. The bridge was separated into three distinct sections. The first was the aft upper section. Along the back wall of the bridge stood 5 consoles. During its initial launch in 2364, these consoles were Science 1, Science 2, Propulsion, Emergency Manual Override, and Environment. But by 2365, a year later, these consoles were changed to Science 1, Science 2, Mission Operations, Environment, and Engineering, a configuration which would remain the standard for this class. The science stations would be used for scientific analysis and library computer access, with the Mission Operations Station in charge of monitoring away team and shipboard missions. The Environment Station was in charge of monitoring all shipboard environmental systems, such as life support, temperature, and gravity control aboard the starship. Each of these stations also had pull-out seating that could be tucked back out of the way when not needed. All control panels aboard this class were touchscreen controls. This allowed for any station to be configured or reconfigured easily in emergency situations or to accommodate different requirements of different officers. Directly in front of these 5 stations was the tactical station. Mounted on a horseshoe-like pedestal, this console was responsible for controlling all shipboard offenses and defenses. This included phaser emitter arrays, torpedo launchers, and defensive shielding. As well as being responsible for tactical systems, this station also monitored and was responsible for all security functions aboard the starship. This station would also be primarily in charge of ship's communications, though at times this function could also be handled by the operations station. The second section, in the midsection of the bridge, was that of the command area. Here stood 3 command chairs. The captain or commanding officer would typically occupy the center chair. The first officer would occupy the chair to the captain's right. The chair to the captain's left would be occupied by the ship's counselor or a mission-specific officer or guest. 2 other bench seats were also available on either side of the 3 command chairs. All 3 chairs had access to ship's functions and monitoring via special stations. The captain's chair having originally 2 consoles, one on each arm with a flip-up cover. By 2365, however, this cover had been removed. The right panel on the command chair was used for log entries, library computer access and retrieval, view screen control, and intercoms. The left arm of the chair was equipped with a panel that acted as a backup con and ops panel, plus armament and shield controls. The port and starboard sides of this section contained equipment lockers and circuitry access behind wooden panels, though these wooden panels would also be replaced by fabric panels in 2365. The third and final section contained the helm and operation stations. The helm on the starboard side of the area was in charge for all navigational functions, including ship's course and speed, while the operations station on the port side was in charge of monitoring all ship's functions and primarily in charge of the ship's main sensor array, Directly in front of these two stations stood the main viewing screen, one of the largest starship viewing screens ever designed. A door in the forward portside bulkhead led directly to what was known as the Captain's Ready Room. Essentially an office for the captain or commanding officer, this room would allow for small meetings or updates, as well as allow the captain to work while still being on duty and readily available should the need arise. On the aft starboard side of the bridge was two doors. One led to the bridge's head, while the other led to a special conference lounge. This large room allowed for senior officers to have mission-specific meetings while not being too far away from the bridge in case an emergency arose. With hostilities mounting within the Alpha and Beta quadrants, Starfleet decided to modify the Galaxy-class bridge to include 6 more consoles along the port and starboard walls, replacing the equipment lockers originally housed there. As a result, all wall-mounted consoles were reconfigured to a new layout. The 3 stations on the starboard wall became Science Stations 1, 2, and 3, while the 3 stations on the port wall became Communication Stations 1, 2, and 3. This was done to allow each Galaxy class to act as a command and control ship, if necessary, during fleet battles. Along the aft wall, these stations were configured as follows: Science 4, Mission Operations, Environment, and then the Engineering Station was expanded to Engineering 1 and 2. The Tactical Station would also receive its own chair, similar to that of the aft consoles. In addition, the command chairs were raised by 2 steps above the helm and operations stations, to provide the captain with an unobstructed view of the forward view screen. New carpeting and handrails were also added. Though an amazing and expansive design, this bridge module has come to symbolize an age where Starfleet was unprepared for what awaited them: battles with the Borg Collective and an all-out war with the Dominion. Since then, Starfleet has never again made the mistake of oversimplifying their bridge designs with an air of unjustified superiority.